Award-winning author, actress, producer Georgia Omano has co-founded Elephant Matriarch Project to empower young women in Kenya to conquer poverty and become leaders in their community. Georgia, thank you so much for being on today. Tell us right off the bat, what is the Elephant Matriarch Project?
Hi, Lindsay. Thanks for having me. Yes, the Elephant Matriarch Project is a brand new 501c3 nonprofit that will be in Kenya, and it's for rural, undereducated young mothers who have lack of education and know-how, and they are going to become the new protector class for elephants. We're going to create conservation centers for these girls so they can learn more about nature and learn to protect it. And then some of them, a lot of them, hopefully, will get jobs in conservation, rangers, tour guides, etc.
Oh, that's so incredible. I love the whole concept. I know that you have two co-founders we might want to mention. I think I have a picture. You can tell us their names, and I think I have a shot of them here. You can tell about that a little.
Yes, that's Rama and Roslin and Maaka, and they're both good friends of mine that I worked with in Kenya. And Hari has a lot of experience in charities and education, and he works for the government, so he can get all the permits over there. And Rosalind, she comes from one of these rural areas where there's conflict with the elephants, and her family, however, feels that the elephants are part of their family. So she encouraged her grandfather to donate 5 acres of land, which is where we're going to build the first center.
That is just amazing. I want to get into everything about the conflict, the human elephant conflicts that's going on. I want to get into all of it. But I think the best way to tell the story is to, first of all, before we go into that, let's mention if people in LA, there's an amazing fundraiser coming up next week. So if you're in the LA area, the fundraiser is next Saturday, December 16th. What time does it start?
6 o'clock. 6 to 10.
And where is it?
It's at Sarah's Dine and Dance Club on Studio City on Ventura Boulevard.
Wow, I can't wait. I'm going to be going. A lot of people in the animal rights animal rights in this area are going to be going. I'm really excited. I understand there's going to be dancing.
Yes, we have a fabulous band, the Eric J. Charles, great band for dancing. Plus, we have Mayuka Tice is going to sing 2 beautiful songs she wrote about elephants that will make you cry. We're going to have other singers and comics, and I'm going to do a little presentation about the program, and it's going to be a great time. Good vegan food. Sarah, the owner, she makes delicious Mediterranean food. It's all like homemade food, and she's going to make it all vegan and even some raw vegan.
Ooh, now I've not tried raw vegan, but I am really down for that. I'm down for some dancing. So this is in the Studio City area, right? Did we just say?
Yes.
Studio City, and you can get the tickets. We're going to give the information for that. We'll have that up in just a moment. So where do they go for that? I'll be sure to get that up.
It's on Ticketmaster, or it's on Facebook. If you go under events, you'll see it, Elephant Matriarch Project. And it's on Ticketmaster. That's where the tickets are sold.
And we'll be sure to put the link at the top of the broadcast. But I think you did send me a link. I can probably find that while we're talking. But I'd like you to go back now to the very beginning of how this all started with when you became involved and you discovered your love of elephants and how it brought you to write a book, etc. So why don't you take us back a little bit on how this all started?
Well, it goes back a bit because I actually discovered my animal activism with my first dog that I got in 97. And I started with doing a little show with my dog. And then after that, I started branching out to other animals, and it opened up my heart so much that I just wanted to fill it with animals. And I was lucky because I befriended some animal advocates, and we were doing the fight for Billy the elephant, way back
Oh,
then, because he was stuck in the zoo and he was bobbing his head, we had Dr. Joyce Poole come over and all kinds of experts come over, and they would say he's psychologically he's not well. And we know that elephants, when they're in zoos for a long time, their feet get decrepit because they're supposed to be walking for miles a day on the natural earth and everything. So
right.
I went to Kenya after that, and I just fell in love with Kenya and the people there and the wildlife. Oh, it's just so amazing. I just feel like everybody needs to go there at some point. It's
I want to
just
go.
when you're well, I'm hoping in the future we'll do some tours over there with the profit.
Ah,
Well, we'll see how that goes, but that's in the
yeah,
future. But
right.
I fell in love with them so much, and Joyce Poole was the one who really got me going because she started talking about elephant communication, and it made me realize more and more how intelligent, elephants are. Their brains are 3 times as big as ours, and they've been on earth much longer than we have, and they have a peaceful society, and they're vegan, and they help other animals. They don't kill animals. So if you look at all the facts, it kind of adds up to they might be a better species than we are.
Yeah.
Um, and then people are killing them. So I went to Kenya several times as a journalist, and I was interviewing conservationists and learning every time. And I went in 2010, 2011, and then when I went in 2012, the poaching crisis had hit, and there were dead animals everywhere, and it was just so heartbreaking that I just couldn't go back. I didn't go back for 5 years.
Oh my God. You mean there were dead animals everywhere?
Yes, yes, we would stay in this lovely little lodge, and there was a rhino sanctuary nearby, and right there, 2 rhinos killed right under our window practically, and
Okay,
it
so
was
let's stop a moment and just explain to people because we're covering a lot at once, and I do want to just go in a little bit more. There's a lot of animal human conflict going on. I think if we go back a little and explain to people that have never been to that area, I didn't know about it and why it happens a little bit. Let's talk about that for a moment so people get a
okay. Well,
bigger
that's
picture.
that's another problem of elephants, but it's a different one than the one I was describing, which is the poaching crisis, which is
Right.
still rampant in parts of Africa, all parts almost of Africa, except Kenya has it better under control. But there still is some poaching. And what I mean by human wildlife conflict is there's a population explosion going on in Africa, and people are rural people are building farms on the migratory routes of the animals. So when the elephant has a migratory routes they've done for hundreds and hundreds of years, and they go down their route, and all of a sudden there's a tree, there's crops, they're going to start eating. And then the farmers, most of them, unfortunately, are very undereducated, just like these girls that we're
Mhm.
trying to help. They're from those kind of areas, and so they shoot them with a poison arrow because they're afraid of them. They don't know how to protect. They don't know how to divert them, and they're eating their livelihood. So they need education. They need to know why not to kill the wildlife and how they can instead work with the wildlife and instead protect themselves and divert the wildlife from their actual farm.
So, what would be just quickly one way that they could do that? How could they get the elephants to go like they're building their? Is it the fault of the farmers' lack of knowledge of where to build, or is it something that they have to do in a certain way to avoid the running into the elephants or the elephants coming through their areas?
Well, I don't really know how the land thing works in Kenya, but for
Mhm.
instance, where we're going to be on our conservation center, is right outside the national park. It's the Savo National Park, the largest national park in all of Africa. Hundreds and thousands of elephants there. Where this town is only 18 miles from the border of that park. So when there's a drought, when there's famine, when there's problems in the park or different times of year, the elephants march outside the park and they're right there in the village. And so of course the people are afraid of them because especially if it's a bull elephant, they can hurt them. I mean, they can hurt
Oh, yeah.
but they won't. They need to know how to deal with it. So one of the ways that a lot of people are helping that situation today is with beekeeping. If they put beehives along the boundaries, it turns out elephants are afraid of bees, so they don't cross the barrier. So that's one thing. But then they also just need to learn more about why they should respect the elephant and
Right.
why the elephant's coming there and how they can protect themselves.
Right, and cohabit with the elephants in a cooperative way, which is what you're teaching, which is just amazing. Let's just why don't you talk a little bit about the work you did originally with Sheldrick and how you wanted to move to Kenya and then how that led to the book and everything. Let's talk about that a little bit now.
Well, ever since when you go to Kenya, you have to go visit the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust. They have been established for, gosh, I don't know how many years. I'd say maybe 50, because it was started by Daphne Sheldrick, who since has passed away, but her daughter has taken over and her whole family runs it. And Daphne was married to a ranger in Savo Park, actually the ones who established that park. And she started saving orphan animals. And she saved an orphan elephant. And the elephant became so attached to her that when she had to go out of town for her daughter's wedding for 3 days, the little elephant died of a broken heart.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah, so she learned a lot from that. It was very sad for her, of course, but she ended up establishing the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, which is an orphanage for baby elephants. And she had to experiment with all different kinds of milk that might work well with the babies because they're not getting their real mother's milk. And she found a formula that actually works. She also discovered that they get so attached that they have many caretakers and they have a different caretaker stay with the elephant every night. So they don't get too attached to one caretaker in case he has to go somewhere. And they've learned through the years such a wonderful, wonderful system. They have a huge area in the Nairobi National Park for the nursery, the little baby elephants, and they have veterinary services, and they teach them little by little. They give them the milk. They take them out to browse. They start learning how to browse on the trees from their other co-elephants, and they make big friends, and they make a new family with the other baby elephants, and they grow together. And then when they get to be around 2-3 years old and they think they're ready, they take them out to one of their other outposts, like in the Savo Park. They have a huge outpost where the elephants go when they're like 2.5. And then they stay there and they still get the milk. They still get the caretakers, but less and less as they need it. And they're free to roam around during the day. So eventually they hook up with wild elephants. Some of them, they join other herds or they form their own herd when they're ready, but that takes several years. And the Sheldricks has been so successful at this that over 50, I think it's 55 or more now, of their baby elephants that they nurtured since a baby, and then they went back into the wild. When they have their own baby, they bring it back to show the caretakers. It's
Oh,
like the
wow.
sweetest thing. And now they actually have, I think, a dozen great grandbabies. When the baby has a baby, they bring it back. So it just shows how much they're really doing for conservation, and it's all just from sweetly raising these babies.
I think it's also very illustrative of how elephants, people say elephants never forget, as you know, sort of a joke, but the reality is that they do form families, and it sounds like the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust is part of their family. They recognize
Yes,
that, and
they
then they
do.
bring their babies back. I mean, that's great intelligence, and we do know elephants are very intelligent, very soulful. You can communicate. People have told me in interviews before, such as yourself, who have been there and have spent time with them, that you could communicate with them one on one when you're in their presence. And it's such an incredible
Oh,
experience. And it made you want to write a book, which you did. You wrote an award winning book. And I do want to bring that up right now on the
thank
screen.
you.
So, why don't you talk a little bit about that? And yeah, talk about your book a little bit. And
Okay.
people want to get it.
Well, um, when, as I told you before, I stopped going to Kenya when the year that of the bad poaching, and when I went back in 2017, I fell in love with it all over again. I mean, I never stopped really, but my husband was there, and I said, we had such a wonderful time, and I said, let's move here. I really want to be around the elephants full time. I want to see if there's anything I can do to help them, anything at all. So he agreed, and we brought our two small terriers with us because they're part of our family. And while we were there, the terriers had their own experiences with wildlife. Some of them were kind of humorous. And so I just started writing them down. And that eventually became the book, Terriers in the Jungle, which came out 2022. And you kindly interviewed me about that before. And the book has done very well. It's won 8 literary awards. I mean, 9, actually, 9. Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. Available on Amazon and other booksellers.
Oh yeah, yes, it's available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and you know, I
Yeah,
don't
let's
know,
bring that up
wherever.
one more time. Yeah. So, and eventually, you plan to do a screenplay about it.
Actually, I am doing this. I spent a whole year
Oh,
writing and
wow.
rewriting and rewriting the screenplay because I think um, what people like about the book and what I like about it is that the dogs are talking and the dogs are telling the experiences of Africa from their perspective. And so I wanted to make a movie where the dogs are a part of it like that. And because I want it to be a family movie. Because today, when
Mhm.
you want to learn about conservation, you pretty much you have to go to see a documentary. And the documentaries are fairly serious. I thought, why not have some messages about conservation in a more lighthearted way that kids could be part of it? So if we do a story and the dogs are there and they're talking and maybe even singing, but it still has the story of the elephants. That's what my goal is, and that's what I've been working on.
That's amazing. That is so exciting. I just wanted to bring up that banner again. Here we go. So you can get it's available. Terriers in the Jungle. I think I might have said uh, what did I say? Maybe I said the right thing. I thought I said
Yeah, you
Terriers in
said
the
it.
Park.
You said it right.
Terriers in the Jungle is the name of the book. And it's available on Amazon, other booksellers. And we can't wait to see the movie. We can't wait to see I'm sure it's going to be a process of fundraising and so forth. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I feel that it's a pretty expensive movie, people tell me.
Mhm.
And so we really need to find somebody in the industry who loves it, because right now it's not the flavor of the day. I found out this year, people, especially after the writer's strike, people want to make short movies that are easy to make, that are not real expensive. They want to get product out, and they're not thinking about big family movies at all. But I know that things change, so
Yeah.
I want to be ready when it changes, and I want to have something really good to present, and hopefully find somebody in, who knows the ropes to be able to take it on too.
Well, I think the fact that you have such an extensive background in acting and working, producing, etc., on your own, and you have a very, I would say, very realistic. That's not the word I want to use, but neutral attitude towards like, okay, maybe what I wanted to do right now isn't going to happen, but let me see what I can do to make what I can make happen now. And I think that's what you have to do. I mean, I think that's the plan of a winner who doesn't quit. And yeah, so that's amazing. And you've done so much
Thank you.
amazing work. People should definitely get the book to support you, but also it's an amazing, interesting story. And you learn so much about how people live with animals, like right in their backyard. How was that? Your dogs, you talked about that, how it was for you, but mostly also for your dogs to see wild animals for the first time.
They were pretty funny. I mean, of course, the book is written all in their words, so I felt like I had to get inside their minds, But I mean, for
Yeah.
instance, the first day we got to, we spent in Kenya. We were actually in the southern part, right on the Indian Ocean. Beautiful little town called Diani Beach, which I highly recommend. And we were walking on the beach with the dogs, and they ran up ahead. And my little dog ran into what was like a wall for her. Turned out it was this huge camel that was lying on the beach, and she ran right into his face, and his whole mouth was bigger than her. He could have
Oh,
just chomped on her. And so we came, and it turned out then there was a guy next to her, and the elephant, I mean the camel, and he said, "Oh, don't worry, he says, oh, that's Obama. He won't hurt the dog." And he
Obama.
called them, they love Obama over there, so they like to use his name, so they named the camel Obama. And they made him give rides on the beach once in a while, but there were hardly any people there.
Yeah.
So then
Hopefully
I
he
had
wasn't abused.
the dogs later talking, and Romeo says to Roxy, "Well, weren't you afraid? You were right next to his mouth." And she said, "No, I could smell grasses and stuff on his breath. I figured he was a vegetarian. He wouldn't eat me."
Ah, that's so good bringing the message in. How do the girls take to the message of veganism? The girls that you've worked with?
Well, here's the thing about veganism in Africa. Most
Yes.
people are vegan by default. They can't afford to
Yeah.
eat meat, see? But so they
Mhm.
don't realize that that's a good thing. So that's the other thing we're going to be teaching them. We're going to be teaching them in the center about veganism, but for them it shouldn't be that hard, because they grew up in poverty, and to them having meat was like a special occasion.
Yeah.
But we can tell them why it's not really special to eat meat. And we can also, when I was there at one of the camps I stayed at, I made friends with the chef he made wonderful, wonderful vegan food. And we're going to use him to go over and train the cooks in the kitchen at the center how to make wonderful vegan food. And that's going to be part of the teaching also.
Oh, wow. And so, how tell us how this you're like when will it start happening and what's the timeline on everything?
Well, it really depends on raising the money, you know.
Got it.
It's like,
Okay. So talk about that a little bit, how important that is.
right. Uh, well, we need to, it to make a building over there. I mean, when you think about making a really big building here, like a school building type thing, uh, it's I don't know how much it costs, but it's quite considerable. Over there, um, we can probably make it for $100,000.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
um, things that cost less over there. I mean, people don't have money. It might not be. the fanciest one in the world, but it'll be good, solid, and nice. So I don't know, I have to work together with my Kenya partners, and they have to arrange all that. Obviously, I don't know much about building, or I'm not there to know the builders or anything, but we will
Right.
be having meetings, and we will use, the resources that I basically can raise from people here who understand the situation and realize this could be a good thing. I mean, in my mind, if it works out, we're going to spread it around and make it help put them in other areas, because I think it could raise a whole new army of animal protectors. This is what I really
Yes.
realized when I was in Kenya, is that I was trying to find a way to help elephants. And then I came across these girls, and I found out how ignorant they were about everything, wildlife especially, and they knew nothing, and they didn't know how to even appreciate them or protect them or even notice them. So
Right.
when you open their eyes, then they become, wow, they love the elephants. Wow. When they met the baby elephants, I took them to Sheldrick's. Wow, they couldn't believe it. They were so in love, and they were just excited. That's all they could talk about. That's all they wanted to do. And, they're sweet young girls, just
Yeah.
like us. I mean, we love the elephants, and
Yeah.
they love the elephants. Once they don't just feel like an elephant is something to fear, an elephant is like going to hurt me, we got to be
Yeah.
away, get away from the elephants. No, they have to learn what's really there. And
Let's
I
go ahead
feel
and
that this is a case all over Africa. So,
yeah.
and there are other organizations I've read about recently in different countries who are working on this aspect of conservation, going to the younger kids and the mother, not the mothers. I've never seen another one that especially addresses these mothers, but these mothers are an untapped resource,
Let's watch
and
this
that's
little
why I'm
clip
calling.
here. Let's watch this little clip for a moment.
Okay. Which was a rescue group for young girls, and they were from very destitute backgrounds, and they had nowhere to go. So at first I said, no, I'm going to keep trying to work with elephants. But then later I realized that this was a great thing to do, because these girls come from the rural areas, and this is where there's a lot of human-animal conflict, because there's a population explosion in Africa. And so what they do is they build farms on the migratory routes of the animals. So when the elephant comes marching on his usual route, all of a sudden there's some fruit trees and stuff. So he starts eating, and then he destroys their crops, and then they consider them to be pests. And that's when they start shooting them with the poison arrows and so on. So I thought, wow, there's this whole population of young women who are uneducated. And I realized this is an untapped resource for them. If I could get these girls so that they love elephants, and then and learn a lot about nature, then they can go back to their communities and become leaders. So that's what I told the girls. And I was able to use all my skills with these girls, from acting. We did improv. We saw nature movies. We went on field trips, and they had never even eaten in a restaurant. These girls are so poor. We don't realize over here the poverty that people live in, a lot of people.
Yes.
And so it was a real pleasure for me to open their eyes. And the first time they actually saw elephants, I got special permission from the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust to take them to one of the outposts, and they met the baby elephants, and they got to help feed them. As ones who had finished high school, I paid for them to go to college, and one of them is a teacher today. And my goal after my book becomes a movie and is to found a school, especially in one of the areas where there's a lot of
That was where you were before. And I just wanted to show some of the pictures of the girls seeing the elephants for the very first time. Before we go on, I do want to mention, folks, that you are watching Action Hour on Unchained TV. And if you have not yet done so, please download the app, watch.unchained TV. It's completely free. And we have not hundreds, we have thousands of titles for you to see, over 1,500 titles of all sorts of cooking shows, documentaries, talk shows such as this. So please download the app and support us. Georgia, that is just such an amazing thing, the way this all came together for you. First, to be seeking a job. You went to Kenya, you wanted to live in Kenya, you wanted to help the elephants. You got offered a job working with girls, and your first response was, oh, well, yes, I would love to help them, but I want to work with the elephants. And look, you went full circle around to where it's encompassing everything, both helping the girls and the elephants and other wildlife. Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to, I'm going to give you some last words here because we're already a half hour in. But before we get to that, I want to show again people they can get your book on Amazon and other booksellers. Also, wanted to point out about the, again, to remind people, it's really important if you're in the LA area, join us at the fundraiser. It's going to be amazing. And can they go to this address right here, elephantmatriarchproject.org, to get their tickets? Can they get them through there?
Well, they can go there, and on there, there's a connection to the Ticketmaster if they want to go.
I think that's how I did it.
Yeah. And if you can't go and you want to make a donation, there's donation buttons on the website also.
Yes, I had a photo of that. Let me just show that again real quick here. So here's my ticket that I got. I think it took me through Facebook, to Facebook from the website, but they can just go to Elephant Matriarch Project on Facebook and find it, right?
Oh, no, not on. I don't have a page for them yet, but if they go to the website, elephantmatriarch.org.
Right.
Elephantmatriarch.org. That's the name. That's for the project, and it does have the link to the event. And if they want to read more about the event, or they just can go directly to Eventbrite and look for the events in LA for next week, and it'll be right there. Or they can go on Facebook on the events page, and it'll be right there. And so,
and this is to make a donation. Also, they can go to. I'm leaving the QR code up.
Oh, great! Yeah.
You see it up there? Yeah, that's the QR code that you can make a donation, and it's 501c3 deductible.
Yes.
So if you can't make it, or you're somewhere else in the country or in the world, and you want to help out, this is an amazing opportunity to not only help the elephants, but also to help underprivileged young women whose lives are just desolate and horrible. And without our help, they're going to, it's not going to be a good situation. So we really do need to help them. Georgia, we have just a few minutes left, so I want to turn it over to you. Anything we haven't talked about that you would like to cover?
Well, I mean, I just mentioned in passing, I mean, this is just in case there's somebody out there who's very attracted to this project and who has some expertise in nonprofits, administration, even in girls, helping these types of girls, or in any of these related subjects, you can contact me, because I am looking for some people who might want to help put this project together with us. Right now, we have a few supporters in Kenya that we know are going to be contributing things, but it would be nice to have a couple in the U.S. too. So, I'm open to talking to anybody about it and see if it's a good thing, if it'd be good for both of us,
Yeah. And would this be the best way to reach you, through your Gmail?
Yes.
Okay, terrific. So that's great. And I mean, as far as the monetarily, the US, our dollars are so powerful and could help this project so much.
You know, a dollar, the exchange rate is very bad for them right now, but a dollar goes really far over there.
Wow. Well, that's good news then. That's good
Well,
news
it's
because it
good.
makes it
It's
easier
good
to
because
help.
we can help them. I mean, they are suffering right now. The
No,
Kenyans,
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's not good news their dollar is down, but that we can help them easily. Right.
yeah, yeah,
Go
we
ahead.
can help them even more with our money because it goes
Mhm.
farther there.
Yeah. Well, that's great, Georgia. I want to thank you
Thank
for
you.
being on. I'm looking forward to the event next week, and we'll do some video there, and we can
Oh,
also share
great.
that out. Yeah, we'll share this out on our different social media. And folks, you can help out by sharing out this video and getting it out to people you know in LA that might want to go. But also, let's put up one last time. If someone wants to make a donation, we have the little QR code here, or you could go to the website, which is pretty easy to remember, elephantmatriarch.org. I'm just looking for it here. Here we go. So elephantmatriarchproject.org is correct. And yeah, you
No,
can
no,
help.
actually, I don't know where that came from. It should be just elephantmatriarch.org. That's the website.
Okay. Okay.
The
Glad.
name of the project is Elephant Matriarch Project, but the website is just elephantmatriarch.org.
Okay. We'll make sure that we fix that. Let's put that up for a moment. I think I just lost it. Hang on there, folks. I love doing all of this. There we go.
It's a fun thing
I
to
got it
do.
right now. There we go. I do love
Sorry,
doing it,
you
but
know,
it's a little challenging sometimes to do it all. But
I
I think
know.
we
Well,
got
you do a
through it.
great job, Lindsay, and I really thank you. You're so valuable, and you make wonderful interviews with a lot of important issues, and you do a lot of service for the animals. And I applaud you, and I respect you.
Oh, thank you. It means a lot coming from you, Georgia. So we are going to party next week. If you're in LA, join us. It's going to be in Studio City, which is a fun place to go to. And it's kind of like in between Hollywood and the Valley. So you can get there easily. It's not hard to get to. So join
Right.
us. We'll be looking forward to it.
Great. I can't wait to see you there.
Okay, let me end this now, everyone. Have a great week. We came to you at a little different time. We'll be back next Saturday at 10 as usual. Take care, everyone. And thank you, Tom, for watching, and Tina Walker as well. We didn't get to your comments, but thank you for watching.
Thank you.